Hello, welcome back to the Board Games 4K YouTube channel, and today we're going to be looking at a game by Splotter Spellen, I think that's how you pronounce it, and it's sort of an engine building kind of worker placement sort of thing. But anyway, we're going to be looking at Food Chain Magnate. Magnate. There's no magnets in this, just food chains. This is going by the Coulter Splotter, so and we'll be giving you a very rough overview of the rules. We're not going to be going to depth on this one because it's just, it makes my head explode, but we'll be telling you what we do like, what we don't like, and then we'll come back and we'll tell you whether or not Food Chain Magnate is worth bothering with today. So if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to our channel. Leave a comment in the section down below, and we'll see you after this. Board Games 4K. So Food Chain Magnate is a game by Splotter, and Splotter are sort of well known, sort of a Marmite company, aren't they? So you either love them or you hate them. So they're responsible for games like Roads and Boats, The Great Zimbabwe, Antiquity, Indonesia, Bus, Duck Dealer, and all those sorts of things. And the thing about Splotter is the games are regarded as being quite in-depth strategy games, but they look and taste like crap, right? That's the general thing, and Food Chain Magnate is sort of no exception to this. So we're just going to go through a very brief overview of the rules right now. So with this one, you're going to start off as an entrepreneur in trying to build a food chain empire, and you're going to start off with the bare minimum of resources to do this, right? So first thing you're going to do in this one is you're going to get hold of your restaurant and you're going to chuck it on the board, and then you're going to take your CEO card, and that's going to allow you to recruit other members of staff from this vast array of different staff members. And the way that you recruit staff members is that you start off on this side and you pick a lowly employee, and then once you do that and you hire somebody else, it's like a sort of a spreadsheet or a spreadsheet type thing, and you'll be able to hire other categories of workers, and they'll unlock the further into the spreadsheet that you go, right? So this game follows a very strict structure, and it's divided into a number of phases. And you've got the restructuring phase, where you will gather up all of your employees and then you'll place them out into a tableau in front of you, and you can choose to put some out and you can choose not to put some out, because you have to remember these people have to get paid at the end of the round, right? So whoever you put out on your tableau needs to be paid at the end of the round. So then you've got order of business, and the person who's got the least amount of slots occupied in their tableau, who's got the least amount of employees, will decide the turn order for the coming round. Yeah. So then the next phase is we go into the working phase, and it's working from 9 to 5, right? So this is divided up into a number of sub phases, and we're going to be quick here because otherwise you'll get ear bleed from me waffling on in this monotone drone, right? So the first thing you can do with the working thing is you can recruit, and you can use your existing employees that are set to work to recruit another employee, right? And then any employees that you do hire will be put in a place called on the beach, and that means that they're sort of in a sort of a limbo area. And you can also train employees with this in this portion of the game, and any employees that you didn't use that are on the beach, so to speak, can be used to, you can train them up and make them more powerful. So you'll be swapping, say, I don't know, a pizza delivery boy for a delivery driver, you know, that sort of thing. So the next thing you can do is you can initiate advertising campaigns and ads to these sort of tokens that you put on the board. There's different types, you know. You've got billboard ads, you've even got ads that little blimp or an airplane that can go across the board. You'll be putting them out on the board, and they'll be sort of tempting your prospective customers to come to you. So if you put an ad out on the board, then that will mean that you can draw more customers to your restaurant. So the next thing you're going to do, you're going to look at your employees that you put out, and any employees that allow you to get food and drink will now deliver. So you'll take the food and drink that these employees will give you. And there's different types of commodities in this game. You've got soft drinks, you've got beer, lemonade, pizza, and burgers. So you'll grab those and you'll stick them in front of you. So the next thing you'll be able to do is this will give you, the next bit will give you the opportunity to move restaurants around you or to build new ones. And depending on what employee you got, you'll look at what they tell you to do, and you'll do that. So you'll either be able to move a restaurant, uproot it and move it, or you'll be able to build a new restaurant. So the next thing is called dinner time, and this is where where your customers will come to your restaurant. You look at the houses, and there's all this sort of complex kind of things that determine whether or not customers come to you. But essentially, the way this works is the closer you are to a house, based on some other varying factors, that customer will come to you if you can meet their demand, right? So you'll get paid depending on how many units of commodities that you flog to these ravenous customers, right? And then what you do after that, you'll pay your employees. It's called payday this phase. So you'll look at the cost of to hire them, and then you'll pay your employees. And if you can't pay them, then you have to chuck them on the dole queue, right? And then what you do after this phase, you'll deal with the marketing campaign. So what you'll do, you'll look around, and depending on what kind of advertising marketing campaign you have instigated, you will look around and you'll be able to place demand counters on various houses, dependent on whether it's a billboard, a mailbox, or whatever. So they've each got different criteria. And then you'll do a bit of clean up right after that. And once the bank has run out of money, the game will end, and whoever's got the most cash is the winner of Food Chain Magnate. So what do we like about Food Chain Magnate? So the first thing that we really like about this is there is a really satisfying sense of progression, and the fact that you've got a big massive display of employees and they're not all readily available, then you have to work your way through them by training people up and hiring more employees to get more money to do that. Then that's really satisfying. And one thing we didn't mention in the rules is that there's also this thing called milestones, yeah? And the first person to achieve a certain milestone will take the milestone. That'll give them a bit of a benefit. So there's also that to consider. So this game sort of slowly lets you build up, and there's no randomization to this. It's down to your strategy, how well you do in this respect, and we love that. The second thing that we really like about Food Chain Magnate is the theming, and the fact that you've got menus, like restaurant menus, as a player aid, a cheat sheet. It's phenomenal. It reminds me of the game, what's the pizza game? New York Slice, where you've got the rules are on a sort of a pizza menu. That's the sort of thing, and the artwork is very evocative of that 1950s sort of classical diner sort of era, that Back to the Future type sort of thing going on. So yeah, it's a really fantastic theming of the game. So the next thing that we really enjoy about Food Chain Magnate is the way that all the different factors link in together into a nice whole. So you've got the choice of the employees that links well with the tableau that you've got in front of you, that you have to choose who you're going to put out to work and who you're going to leave on the beach, and then that ties in really well with what you've got on the main board with all the houses. So if you need to get all three factors right in order to win at this game, and if one of them's lacking, then you're going to fail, right? So what don't we like about Food Chain Magnate? So the first thing that we don't like about it is the board looks completely and utterly crap. Yeah, it looks like my 5-year-old might have drew it with a steel ruler and a pencil. Yeah, it's an abomination, right? It's awful. And some people might say, well, that's how Splotter do things. Well, I don't care. It looks absolute rubbish. Yeah, and they could have done better with that, but they didn't. It just looks like a piece of graph paper. But are we surprised? I mean, there's certain other games by Splotter that don't look great. The board looks pants. So the second thing that some people, we don't really find this annoying, but we think that some people might, and the fact this is where there's a lack of randomization. There seems to be one set best path through this game, and if you can identify that, you might be able to use that on repeated plays, because there's not that much player interaction here. I mean, there is a case of if you get the milestones first, that might set you up to be in a better position, but there seems to be a one set true path through this game, one best way through if you can get there. And that leads me on to the next point, which is that if you do make a mistake early on, then it's going to be very difficult to untie that. And where the initial placement is concerned, that may be, if you don't get your initial placement right, if you go forth to put your initial placement out and you get it wrong, or you're not in a position where you've got the most lucrative customers or routes to the customers, then you're stuffed out the gate, right? So it suffers from that thing where if you do make an error early on, then it's near on impossible to go back and untie that error, right? So the final thing that we really don't like about Food Chain Magnate, and this is what we don't like about it, is the way that the bank is set up at the beginning of the game, and everybody gets a card and they play a card that says whether or not you want a short, medium or long game. And when at a certain point in the game, all these cards are revealed, and that will tell you how much money the bank will have, and that will tell you how long the game is going to be. And we played this not long ago, and new players especially won't really know how long these games last. So when we played it, my mum played the long game card, and it turned out that we would have, if everyone played the short game, we would have been close to finishing. But a couple of people played the long game card, and that means that the game would have been stretched out, well, to an unfathomable length, yeah. And there was no way we could have completed it. So that kind of thing, it's all right if you want to play with those rules, but in our opinion, that should be optional. It should be the base game, the core game should be set to short, medium or long from the bat. There shouldn't be any of this hidden information that decides that halfway through the game, because that's just bonkers, right? So to summarise, is Food Chain Magnate worth playing in 2019? So we're going to say, yeah, this is a good game that offers a wealth of strategic possibilities. If anything, it offers too many, because there's so many different paths through this game with the employees, with your initial setup and the way that the map works. It's mind-boggling. And like we said, the thing is, if you do manage to identify a winning strategy, or alternatively you cock up early on in this game, then either you're going to be much better at it than new players, or you're going to be screwed out the gate. So the main problem with this is that you're going to need to play this with either very experienced players or the same people every time you play it, because if you're playing it with different people with varying levels of experience, then generally speaking, the people who've played it the most will generally win, right? So like we said, it looks really, really bad, doesn't it? I mean, the actual insignificant artwork doesn't look too bad. I mean, the box, you've got the box looks really good, right? That's fantastic. Yeah, the artwork, it really sort of evokes the 1950s feel. But when you're getting into the down and dirty stuff of the actual tiles, it's awful, and it's a shame, really. I know, but some people like it. We don't like that, but the game is pretty good. So it can be a little bit too long if you don't limit that out the gate, and but you can house rule that out. I think some people probably screaming at me going, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing that," but for us, that is one of the major things about this game, is the length. The game could be a sort of an unknown length. The length of the game could be an unknown entity, which is probably a bad thing if you're sort of on a time thing. But then some people might say, well, don't play this game if you haven't got 6 hours, right? So there you go, that's Food Chain Magnate. We're going to give this 4 stars out of 5, right? Yeah, that means it's a really good game and it's worth playing. Go out and get it if you can find it. I think it's just been reprinted by Splotter, and there's also an expansion called the Ketchup expansion or something, which we haven't played, but maybe we will review that and get hold of that in the future. So like we said, if you're new here, then please consider subscribing to our channel. Leave a comment down below in that box somewhere down there, and we'll see you next time.